welcome, Grand Rapids. Thank you for joining us this evening. I am your anchor, Haley Dallian.
And I am your other anchor, Sean Francis. And, things may be a little different tonight, but we are, due to rising numbers of positive COVID cases, we have decided to postpone our live show for the next couple weeks out of an abundance of safety for our performers and our community, including you, the audience.
But even though we aren't able to be here with you in person this week, we're still dedicated to virtually delivering the local, national, and world news you may have missed. And if by the end of this show you enjoy what you see, you can take note of our live charity telethon scrolling across the bottom of the screen for the Comedy Project.
So you're welcome, Grand Rapids. This is
Newsflash. Our top story tonight. Last Monday, DeVos Hall in Grand Rapids set a record by administering over 12,500 COVID vaccines in one day. When asked what kind of impact this will have on the state of Michigan, a spokesman said, "Honestly, we're just hoping people stop associating us with Betsy."
That's right. Kent County Health Department officials say they are still looking for and accepting volunteers for the vaccine center, and while a medical background isn't required, apparently the dentists and veterinarians have been among those who have stepped up to administer vaccines. So that's great news, but just as a heads up, you might get admonished for not flossing or a cone around your neck. So
go figure. Pfizer announced a new facility in Portage, Michigan to produce more of their COVID-19 vaccines. The 420,000 square foot sterile facility will be added to their existing facility in Portage to support increased output, to help the rollout, and hopefully help bring an end to this pandemic. Looking onto the future, they plan to keep the facility active post-COVID by switching over to mass production of their newly announced Pfizer rolls. At least it's not another brewery.
That's right. With vaccines becoming more prominent and readily available, there's still a big push to encourage as many eligible people to sign up for appointments. So doing their part, Gun Lake Casino is offering $20 in credits to fully vaxxed customers. Surprisingly, for your former anti-vax Aunt Karen, she's now fully on board and is actually trying to get a punch card filled for all three vaccines, Pfizer, Moderna, Johnson & Johnson, which unfortunately for her is only worth $10. So if you didn't lose your house during the pandemic, just throw your stimmy on black, and it's what the natives would have wanted.
Hey, that's a great bet in my book. Great news was announced for new mothers and mothers-to-be, as a new study shows that vaccines from Moderna and Pfizer are safe and effective in pregnancy. The study aligns with data under the Center for Disease Control and Prevention, showing that antibodies have been found in 10 out of 10 umbilical cords that were analyzed, as well as all breast milk samples. It is worth noting it has not been peer-reviewed, so if you really can't wait for your vaccine,
maybe. A federal judge recently decided that it would void the Trump campaign from 2016's non-disclosure agreements, which would open the door for potential whistleblowers to testify. Said singer and fellow pee enthusiast R. Kelly, "They can do that?"
The city of Grand Rapids hired a new company looking to collect over 40,000 unpaid parking tickets. That's a total of $2.4 million, which averages to about $60 per ticket, meaning that it's cheaper than, it's still cheaper than paying Ellis parking. Some of these tickets are up to 5 years old, which does seem to make the city come off a little desperate, like a college ex wanting you to return their hoodie or Hoobastank CD. It's gone, man. Let it go.
Big story from last week. The cargo ship Ever Given was freed from the Suez Canal on Monday after blocking the key trade passage for nearly a week. And global commerce is now able to resume unobstructed, though the incident has left some serious canal fissures in the public's sense of economic security. The World Trade Organization has released a statement educating canals across the world on the dangers of boat play, a dangerous new trend that is among shipping passages all over the world. Citing an article from Teen Vogue, quote, "Boat play can be a fun way to spice things up with your fellow seamen, but only if done safely. It's recommended to start with smaller vessels, such as yachts or tugboats, and then work your way up." Concerned parents are saying, well, at least it's not docking.
In the Galapagos Islands, 185 baby tortoises were found inside a suitcase from a smuggler on their way out of the country.
Aww.
Police suspect the smuggler is involved in a shell corporation, but aren't totally sure at this time. Police are searching for any information on these individuals. The man was rumored to also be carrying a suitcase full of straws, but was overheard saying, "I'm not going to check 2 bags." To which the TSA officer replied, "You'll either have to eat these now or throw them out."
Who wanted those turtles so bad? Following the release of his controversial music video for Montero, musician Lil Nas X is now selling satanic-themed shoes that contain a real drop of human blood in every pair. In response, Nike sued Lil Nas X for this copyright infringement, saying, "Hey, our sweatshops were putting blood in shoes first." The shoes sold out in under a minute of being available for sale, with one fan saying they would sell their soul to get their hands on a pair. A bummer for anybody wanting a last-minute gift for Easter to scare grandma. In response, to take advantage of this demand, competitor New Balance announced their New Testament kicks.
Sounds like Lil Nas X may have been involved in the Theranos blood scandal as well, but I'm not going on the record on that one, Sean. A Costco in Anchorage, Alaska is getting attention for ravens who have been stealing meat from family packs as customers leave the store. Residents are calling the birds calculating, with their ability to swoop in and out in seconds to get their lunch. When we asked these burgling birds if they could ever go back to eating bird feed, quote, the ravens, caw. They're ravens, guys. They can't talk. Sorry if that was a joke in po taste.
Love that slide. After much debate, the Michigan State men's basketball team decided not to add "presented by Rocket Mortgage" to their team name. Between this and the recent change in sponsorship from Fifth Third Ballpark to Lake Michigan Credit Union Ballpark, there has been increased scrutiny from the public on corporate sponsorship in sports in general. In fact, we have an exclusive look at some of the rejected sponsors for a proposed rebranding to Detroit Lions home Ford Field. So you got Ford Field, sponsored by Grape Nuts.
The "and more" from Barstools and More.
Mrs. Fields Field.
Store brand Spaghetti Field. Which store? It doesn't matter.
Ford Field, sponsored by Asbestos Seats.
Hot dog cart outside the stadium.
Mike Ford Field, named for former member of Canadian band Moxie Fruvis.
Fifth Avenue Furniture Field, entrance in the back.
Ford Field, sponsored by going to the store for sponges but buying ice cream instead, and then you get home after realizing you forgot to buy sponges.
Any random field.
Ford Field, sponsored by running out of garbage bags and trying to use recycled grocery bags instead, but it doesn't really work as well because they're so small.
And Jeff Field. That's it.
Yep.
During the pandemic, a lot of small business owners have struggled and some have sadly closed their doors. However, others have taken the opportunity to open up new ventures and we at Newsflash have rounded up our picks for best new Grand Rapids businesses to emerge during the past year with a feature we're calling Whelp Reviews, Pandemic Edition. First, Hamburger Mary's, a Chicago-based chain restaurant and drag performance venue. It had this gentleman scratching his head on their grand opening on 28th Street near Cascade. Yeah, me and the boys, we got real excited to eat some burgers, check out this married chick. I mean, she's looking pretty hot in the pictures, and just bro out. We showed up expecting a Hooters vibe, but there were a lot more ladies than we expected. None of them seemed to be with their husbands or boyfriends, and they started playing music. Somebody assumed I was a server and started getting real flirty with all the tables. Seems like she made a decent amount of tips, though. Food was pretty good. The fried twinks were my fave. 3-star review.
I'd go a little higher than that for those fried twinks. GR Noir, a new downtown wine and jazz bar, which is also owned by black couple Shafwan and Nadia Brigham. But this user wasn't so sure about their experience. What makes an $8 bottle of Barefoot and a $1,000 bottle of aged Merlot different? They're just upcharging me because it's old? And I asked my waiter, all they would say is, "In acito es gueule de bois." I Google translated that, and it just apparently means, "In cheap wine, there's hangover." Seems pretty pretentious to me. Also, jazz music was nice, but call me when they can land the master of the smooth soprano, Kenny G, and they'll let me order a bottle of Boone's Farm. 3 stars. Yeah, again, I would go much higher, a 5 at least, just for the lack of Kenny.
Yeah, tough critics so far.
Yeah.
We also have Proprietary, a female POC-owned bulk food grocer in Easttown. And this review is, "Love this place. I visit frequently. Stocking up my bunker for the end of days has never been more convenient. I can get pinto beans by the gallon that will guarantee my family and I survival for at least a few years in our dark, damp shelter. Pro tip, you can just buy an entire barrel of rice. That would make a great snack as you watch the utter collapse of society as we know it. Staff is extremely helpful and helped me figure out what legumes are going to be most useful when reestablishing a barter economy. I'm actually looking forward to the future nuclear apocalypse, knowing we will be well fed with their great selection. Also, the vegan soap bars smell very pleasant. 5 stars."
It's a rave if I ever heard one.
Great.
Next up, we've got Turnstiles, a new West Side bar, which is planning on featuring nightly live music, assuming as soon as that is safe to do so. But this reviewer seems skeptical still. "Friendly, but I don't know how this place is going to make it. They wouldn't take my old 45s. I brought a whole box, and I had some mint Seeger in there. They wouldn't take anything. Not sure how this record store is going to make it if they don't have any copies of Zeppelin 4. Only 2 stars. This poor guy just seems confused. I wouldn't let any of these fake reviews dissuade you from checking out and supporting these new local businesses. So go and make up your own mind, Whelpers.
Yeah, that's the spirit. This past Thursday, the city of Grand Rapids stopped accepting submissions for naming its new Turf Tank robot. The Turf Tank is an autonomous GPS-enabled robot designed to paint precise athletic field lines in less time and using less paint than traditional methods. The city expects that the Turf Tank will save the city close to $5,000 per year. Plus, it will free up maintenance workers to focus on other tasks like cleaning restrooms and removing litter. For anybody questioning or criticizing this purchase, city officials just shrugged and said, "We already bought the inkjet cartridges."
Yeah.
Voting today on the City of GR Parks and Recreation Department, our favorite names included, and these are real, Lawn Order, Turfy McTankface, Paint You Very Much, Bot Ross, because of course, Turfin USA, The Sod Father, Rick Grastley, Grassmaster Flash. Oh, but there are many more worthy candidates, Sean.
Yeah, we couldn't fit them all on the slide. And, we want to save some fun of discovery for you guys. So go and check that out. Our condolences to the rejected names Fielda Kahlo, Pablo Pigrasso, and Football Floor Trolley. Yeah. That one was my personal favorite, but alas. Don't take our word for it, though. Just go to this overly complex City of Grand Rapids website on the slide that you see there. Just poke around. You'll find it probably. And vote to make your voice heard. It's only the second most important vote you'll have made this past 6 months.
It wouldn't be bureaucracy without a website like that. That's
exactly
what I gotta say. Oh, well, this has been great. Unfortunately, that's going to be it for us tonight here at Newsflash. We'd like to thank, of course, our writers that make this possible every week. And if you would like to see your name up here, you can submit your jokes to comedyoutletmondays@gmail.com with the subject line Newsflash Tips.
That's right. You can follow us on Facebook, which you're probably watching us on right now, or YouTube, which is where this will also be posted and streaming, and as well as Instagram and Twitter, where you can rewatch videos from past shows, get notified of lineups for future shows, and find our submission form that you can get your own act on stage once we're back up and running, and you can learn about other ways to get involved. And now, Grand Rapids, you're welcome.
Newsflash.
See you next week.
See you next week.
Bye.
Bye.